Listo, Fiore, estamos en vivo.
¿Me puedes pasar el rol de host, por favor?
Valentina, my video is not went on. The host has stopped it, it says.
Okay, I'm gonna start it.
I'm in the same situation, actually.
You should probably go out and come back in again when that happens. That's usually the
See,
only.
now you can do it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going. People is entering.
Okay, the number of participants is multiplying, you know. Dear Charlie Johnson, how are you?
I'm muy bien. Gracias.
Yeah, nice to have you.
Thank you very much. And hello, everybody.
Hello.
No. Thank you very much for all the people that have joined us.
¿Cómo estás?
So Mark.
Thank you very much for the people that have joined us. We are going to start. First of all, I pass the microphone to Paulina, she will be the moderator in this seminar webinar. Welcome to Trade and Business, Mexico and Jamaica.
Thank you. Okay, is it my turn, Fiorentina?
No, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the ComerciaMX webinar. We will begin with the welcoming remarks by the Mexican ambassador to Jamaica, Juan Gonzalez. We hear you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome all to the seminar Trade and Business Mexico Jamaica. I would like just to acknowledge, you know, and thank very much the Jamaican Chamber of Commerce, its president, Mr. Ian Nita, and the Trade Facilitator Committee Director, Mr. Philip Ramson. And on the part of ComerciaMX platform from Mexico, represented here by Fiorentina Garcia Miramon, Director of Data Analysis of the Global Economic Intelligence Unit of the Ministry of the Economy. I will be very straightforward, telling you about the importance of the relationship between Mexico and Jamaica. I think we will have an overview of trade and investment, but I will have to stress that Mexico is a very, very important investment country in Jamaica. This is an economical fact. In the last 7 years, you know, we have reached more than 1.5 billion of investment in different sectors like cement, airports, hotels, entertainment, and basically this is growing with the presence of other companies of Mexico in the field of construction and tourism. So I understand that Jamaica would like to have, of course, Jamaica has always been an importer, but the idea is also to bring investment and co-investment opportunities, you know, because that will be the orientation in Jamaica, of course, especially in the agricultural sector. So I just want to say that in a practical way, the idea of this first seminar is to identify opportunities, to identify sectors, to identify companies, and to identify the way that all the participants can make, you know, in order to see if they have a specific demand, a specific question related to that. And therefore, we are going to have the use of these platforms, the Jamaica Chamber of Government platform, the ComerciaMX platforms of Mexico, and of course, COMSE and other, you know, for Orient, and how can we have a much more productive dialogue and knowledge about each other's economy and needs. With that, you know, I'll pass thank you very much for the introduction, and I will be there, you know, for any other more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Now we'll hear the welcoming remarks by the General Director of Investment and Export Promotion Policy at the Global Union for Economic Intelligence, Liliana Padilla.
Thank you very much, Paulina. Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us in our webinar, Trade and Business, Mexico and Jamaica. I would like to start greeting our ambassador in Jamaica, Juan Jose Gonzalez Mijares. Thank you very much, Ambassador. And our special thanks also to our friends, Diane Edwards, President of the JAMPRO, Mr. Mark Mcinnes of CONSE, Mr. Ian Neita, President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, and Mr. Philip Ramsom, of course, Trade Chair at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce also. And I would like to thank to Mr. Rosh Ramchandani and Mr. Charles Johnston for sharing their experience. You will hear them in some minutes about doing business between Mexico and Jamaica. From the Ministry of Economy, I would like to share with you that here with me is Fiorentina Garcia. You will hear her in some minutes. She is Director of the Mexican Global Economic Intelligence Unit in the Ministry of Economy. And special greetings, of course, to all the business chamber members, entrepreneurs, companies, representatives of companies, and general public who are following us through this meeting in social media. Thank you very much for being here with us. Well, at the Ministry of Economy, we have the task to explore new ways and new tools for all the companies, regardless their size and sector, they can participate in the 21st century economy. That is our goal. And to fulfill this task, as Ambassador has said, the ministry aims to boost the inclusion of small and medium-sized enterprises in global value chains through informative and training sessions, just like this one that we are starting right now. We all know that there is much potential to boost and diversify the commercial relationship between Mexico and Jamaica. And well, as for that, this webinar will provide to you with an own and big overview of the trade potential and opportunities for doing business between Mexico and Jamaica. Of course, you will know more details about the platforms that Ambassador has mentioned that we have developed in our unit in the Ministry of Economy. And well, I hope the webinar will be very, very useful and invite you to explore your business opportunity with Mexico, with Jamaica. Thank you very much. Welcome to everyone.
Thank you, Liliana. Now I will give the floor to Fiorentina Garcia, Director at the Mexican Global Economic Intelligence Unit, who will give us an overview of the commercial relationship between Mexico and Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Pau. I will share my screen and start the presentation. For all the participants, our content today in my 10 minutes that I have is Jamaica's trade profile. I'm going to explain the trade regime with Mexico, trade indicators, and Jamaica's trade with Mexico in terms of exports and imports. Later, we're going to explore the exports reported by Mexico to Jamaica and the Mexico's exports potential in Jamaica. In this section, I will describe which are the products that Mexico has the potential to export and commercialize with Jamaica for all the enterprises that are here. And finally, but not least, I will explain our platform Invest in Mexico, also for enterprises from Jamaica that are interested on have an investment project here in Mexico, how you can start and how especially the Secretariat of Economy can help you with that process. From Jamaica, for people from Mexico that are here, I need to explain that Mexico is, Jamaica is a member of the World Trade Organization since '95, as well as Mexico. Jamaica has the top origins of the world imports from Jamaica is United States, and Mexico is in the 8th number of country destination from Jamaica, and in terms of exportation, Mexico is in the 49. So Jamaica is in the 49 list from the perspective of Mexico. Our commercial relation has developed in the last years. Of course, for the pandemic was not a good year for the rest of, as well as in the international other countries. But in Mexico, at least in 2020, we Jamaica imports from Mexico $107 million. This was the diminution of 20%, around 20%, and the Mexican market share in Jamaica is 2.3. So that numbers allocates Mexico as the 8th Mexico ranking a supplier in Jamaica. What can Jamaica commercialize with Mexico? There are several sectors, especially cane molasses resulting from the extraction of refining sugar, food preparations, dentifrices, medicaments, appliance for banking, reception apparatus, household refrigerators, food preparations, fully automatic households or laundry type washing machines, and polyfood sites. So you can see there are sectors from the food market, but also from the manufacturer and pharmaceutical sector. And now, what are the exports reported by Mexico to Jamaica for all the Mexican enterprises that are here? As I already said, in Jamaica is the 69th country as destination from Mexico. The market share that Jamaica has from the perspective of Mexico is 0.02. From 2020 to 2021, we saw an increment in the exportations of 22%, and the value of the exports from Mexico to Jamaica was around the $90 million. What are the products that we export to Jamaica? Is plastics and articles, machines, articles of iron, vehicles, electrical equipment, also essential oils, preparation of cereals, paper, iron, and steel. So you can see that we have actually a diversified supply of products that we export from Mexico to Jamaica. And in this part of my presentation, I will explain you the main results of an analysis that we apply here in the Secretariat of Economy to identify which are the products with potential to export to Jamaica. We do this analysis following this methodology. I will not spend a lot of time on this, but actually it's a methodology that we use information related to the amount of exportations, but also we use filters related to the average tariffs and the product complexity index. So we also analyze the complexity of the products that Mexico has to export to this destination. And which are the results for the enterprises that are here and are interested to begin business between Mexico and Jamaica. Of course, if you have a specific question related to the products, or do you want to identify if your product is part of this list, because I'm going to show only the main results, we can send you this presentation and then you can find the product. We analyze the products and we include here the code, the SA code, and then you have a more an easier way to identify your product. So the first main product with potential to export to this destination, to Jamaica, is plastic and articles thereof. Here are the specific products. We can see there are building elements of the manufacturing of floors, or bottles, or stoppers, lid caps, and other closures of plastics. Here, we also, in this analysis, we are not only identifying the potential in terms of the methodology, but also we add where are the non-tariff specifications that we have for these products. For example, embargo sanctions, prohibitions, license, anti-doping, absolute quote, tariff trade code, and other control or restrictions that you have in the at the time that you export this product. If the color is green, is that you don't have this kind of restrictions or import controls in these products. Also, another category of products that you can export to Jamaica is washing preparations, lubricating preparations, artificial waxes, candles are similar articles. We can see that, for example, soap and organic surface active products and preparations has here a yellow light. That means that you will need to proceed with a license or a permit to export to Jamaica. Other article is miscellaneous edible preparations that we know that it's a product with a lot of attractiveness from Mexico, and there are a lot of companies that can export these kind of products. Are preparations for sauces and prepared sauces, mixed condiments and seasonings, excluding soya, sauce, tomato ketchup, and other tomato sauces, mustard and mustard flour. But for example, chili sauces are included in this category, so you can export to Jamaica. And you can see that you don't have any kind of import controls.
¿Qué pasó?
Okay, and then we have the articles of iron or steel. And furniture, it's another product that we have here. And lastly, we have machinery, mechanical appliance, nuclear reactors, and parts thereof. And you can see that there is a light, a yellow light in the import controls from Mexico. Ceramic products, aluminum, and vehicles other than railways. And here you can see that there are another controls for these products. Miscellaneous chemical products, articles of leather, also the countries that are here selling these products, and good and articles of wood. Articles of apparel and clothing accessories. Later, I'm going, because my time is running, I will show you very quickly the platform Invest in Mexico. Jamaica actually has had an investment in Mexico from 99 to 2020, which are the subsectors that are investing in Mexico, temporary accommodation services and others. And here is a platform for the Jamaican enterprises that are interested to invest in Mexico. We have Invest in Mexico. I will share with you the URL. It's economia.com. It's in English. And then you have the information related to strategic information for investors. We can link you with relevant actors in the investment products. We can show you the process and the procedures to invest, and identify the problems that hinder the process of investing in our country, in Mexico. So with this, I finish my presentation. Thank you very much. And I back the microphone to Paulina.
Thank you, Fior. Now we'll hear Ms. Diane Edwards, President of the Jamaica Promotion Corporation, JAMPRO, who will speak to us about doing business in Jamaica.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and saludos de Jamaica. I hope you are seeing my screen.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to just extend a really warm welcome to everyone who is here listening and to say a big thank you to Ambassador Gonzalez, to COMSE, to the Ministry of Economics in Mexico, and to the Jamaican Chamber of Commerce who have organized this meeting this morning. I'm really, really happy to be here. Mexico is one of my favorite countries, and I actually have been to Mexico several times. So at one point, I almost distributed tequila from Mexico to the UK market. So I know quite a bit about Mexico and doing business there. But today, I really want to talk to you more about doing business with Jamaica. So I think that's what I'm going to move to now. And I'll be very quick because time, of course, is of the essence. So for Mexicans, Jamaica is a very small country with a small population of 2.8 million. But it is a very open, liberal, welcoming economy. So an economy that is very easy to do business with. And I would say Jamaica and Mexico, apart from the diplomatic relations we have had for many years, we are really friendly countries to each other and have a lot of partnerships already going on. Jamaica actually has a lot more going on than tourism. We share tourism with Mexico, and of course, very similar tourism to Cancun, which is, I guess, a friendly rival of ours, but also a partner. But apart from tourism, there are a lot of different sectors. Jamaica is quite a diversified economy. So we have, apart from beach tourism, we are expanding the tourism product now to include tourism in boutique hotels, tourism in the mountains, different types of cultural activities, as well as the usual tourism activities. So we want to have more Mexican hotels looking at Jamaica, and I'll talk about some who are already here. In the outsourcing, Jamaica shares this very much with Mexico, the whole question of outsourcing, the outsourcing industry, BPO, it is sometimes called, technology outsourcing. We are very strong in this area. Jamaica has close to 50,000 people employed in this sector. And we are primarily monolingual, so we're primarily speaking English, but it's a great marriage for us to work with Mexican companies to offer a bilingual solution, Spanish, English, to our North American clients. Limestone, Jamaica is very strong in limestone. Most of the island is made of limestone and of a very high purity level. So we are really an opportunity waiting to happen in terms of limestone. And actually Cemex out of Mexico has a factory doing hydrated lime in Jamaica. So already there is some collaboration going on there. In terms of renewable energy, we are very interested in expanding our capacity in renewable energy from 15%, which is where we are now, to 50% in 2037. So this is a big aspiration for us and a real opportunity to expand in solar, in wind turbines, and in other forms of renewable energy. Manufacturing is an area that we think has a lot of potential. Jamaica, as you know, is a member of CARICOM, which opens the market to duty-free Jamaican products made in Jamaica, which can achieve 35% value added in Jamaica, can enter CARICOM duty-free. And we have trading relations with the US, Canada, and the EU and the UK. Agriculture and agribusiness, this is a huge opportunity for collaboration with Mexico, I think, because we have some very similar types of opportunities in agriculture that we think we can learn from Mexico, but we can also bring our own unique flavor to. So for instance, mangoes, avocados, other orchard crops. We think this is a real opportunity for collaboration because the Jamaican mangoes are actually a bit different to the Mexican mangoes. And we think this is an opportunity for synergy. And then of course, logistics, which you will hear more about, and special economic zones, zonas francas, which you have in Mexico. We have very similar legislation with our special economic zones. And we think that this is an opportunity for Mexican companies to come into Jamaica and manufacture. So Mexican investments in Jamaica, as I think it was Liliana who said, that there is already a number of Mexican investments in Jamaica. So we have in the hotel and resort area, Charisma, which has some beautiful hotels in Negril. We have Moon Palace, which is the first Palace Resorts brand to open outside of Mexico, and that is in Ocho Rios in Jamaica. 730 rooms. We also have a dolphin attraction. World of Dolphin owns a dolphin attraction in Ocho Rios. Cemex Jamaica is the #1 and the only real cement factory in Jamaica. And this is a company very much integrated into the Jamaican construction landscape. And then, of course, Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacífico, GAP, which manages the 2 international airports in Jamaica. So you can see that there are already several Mexican companies doing business here. And I think I won't go much into the trade figures because we already saw quite a lot from the Ministry of Economics on the trade between Jamaica and Mexico. But one of the main categories which I had the privilege of working on is rum, because Appleton, as you would call it, is actually quite present all over Mexico. And I know does a lot of business in Mexico. Mexico was once the #1 market for Appleton. So some of the export opportunities, looking at the other side, from the other side of the pond, that we see, we do a lot of teas in Jamaica, what you call flor de Jamaica, which we call sorrel, is one of the products that we make into teas and into soft drinks in Jamaica. So we think the whole area of beverages is a big opportunity for trade. And then sauces was mentioned, salsas picantes, because we do a lot of hot sauce in Jamaica. And I think we share this with Mexicans, and your chiles, which are, of course, are very popular. We have Scotch bonnet pepper, which is similar to an habanero. And we think that this is an area, because our palates are really not that different. Mexican food, I think, would appeal to Jamaicans, but Jamaican food will also appeal quite a lot to the Mexican palate. Not only hot, but spicy. And we think that the sauces area and other rums, because I know Mexicans understand golden rum, and there are not many countries that do. So we think that that's really an opportunity. So in terms of the packaging, we can do bilingual packaging. We have a number of organizations that already do this. So we think that there is really an opportunity for us to increase our trade with Mexico. And then in terms of investment opportunities, I have spoken about tourism, of course, and we are working with other Mexican companies that want to come to Jamaica, and we're expecting that there will be an expansion of Mexican hotel investment in Jamaica in the near future. Logistics, we think the whole question of warehousing and logistics development, particularly taking advantage of Jamaica's location to go into the rest of the Caribbean and to go south into Latin America. Using our trade agreements, we think this is a real opportunity. I spoke about BPO and limestone mining, and then agriculture and agribusiness, greenhouse production and industrial scale production, particularly for the markets where we have preferential trade agreements, which I mentioned before, US, UK, Canada, and the EU. So that's kind of a quick overview because time is of the essence. So if we are JAMPRO, we are Jamaica's Economic Development Agency, and we're really here to hold the hands of investors and importers to trade more with Jamaica and to invest in Jamaica. You'll see there all our contact details. The website is dobusinessjamaica.com, and you will find a wealth of information there, and also contact with our contact center. So thank you very much for listening, and we hope that we will have an opportunity to talk to some of you and answer some of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Diane. Now we're going to hear Mr. Mark Mcinnes, President of the Mexican Business Council for Foreign Trade, who is going to talk about opportunities to do business.
Well, it's great to be once again back with our friends from Jamaica, Diane, Juan Jose, Ramsam, Philip, and others. The opportunities are there. I myself spent a long time in Jamaica with the Singer Company, At the time, we were doing the 807A program, training mechanics and operators of sewing machines, and there was a big apparel growth back in the 80s. And hopefully that will happen again in Jamaica. And the Mexican industry, or the Mexican transnational companies, are expanding quite a bit into Latin America and the Caribbean. Currently, we're the #1 investor in the Dominican Republic, which is one of your neighbors. So there's no reason why we cannot further expand into Jamaica. There's one issue that comes to light. We need an agreement for protection of investment. And Ambassador Juan Jose Gonzalez has been working on that, and I hope we can expedite that. That's key important for Mexican investors, because we currently have, as Diane mentioned, quite a few free trade treaties with many countries in Latin America. We have the Alliance of the Pacific. We have agreements with other countries in Latin America. We have agreements with Europe, like Diane mentioned, and we need this investment protection agreement. That's one issue that we can work on. The second issue is the shipping and logistics chain. And I understand, Charles, you have quite experience in it, but we need more logistical work on that. And I'm sure Roshan, who imports quite a bit of product from Mexico, has the same issues that come up. So we'd like to see that worked out, and we can work it out together. COMSE, the business boards of Jamaica, also JAMPRO, in getting more logistics and shipping on the road. And the other thing is for us to do further investments also that are related to CARICOM. We know there's a chain there that the Mexican companies could take advantage of. I know CEMEX right now does production of cement, which is exported into some of the other Caribbean countries. So those are opportunities that the business sector has. And the key thing here, as Ambassador Gonzalez has stressed, is we need to have a B2B exchange to be with both sides, whether it's Mexican companies or Mexican chambers going to Jamaica, or vice versa, the Jamaican business community coming to Mexico. And we can do one trip to Kingston, and we do another trip to Mexico, and get the ball rolling. Maybe at the beginning it might be 2 or 3 of the chambers alone, and we just keep on expanding it. I know there's budget considerations on either side. So I just like to be short and conclude there. Those are the big things. So it's the agreement on investment protection. The second thing is logistics, and the third is getting involved in what CARICOM is and the opportunities of CARICOM. So, I mean, being a country of 2.8 million, at the end of the day, we're talking in the CARICOM countries is somewhere like 12 or 16 million people. I'm not sure what the final number is on it, but there are opportunities. And with this, I thank all of you for including us in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mark Mcinnes. Now we're going to hear Mr. Philip Ransom, Trade Facilitation Committee Chair at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, about opportunities to do business.
Well, thank you, Paulina. And before I do get started, I do want to thank the Commercial Mexican Intelligence Unit for hosting this event. I do want to acknowledge both the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Anita, president of JAMPO, Diane Edwards, of course, Ambassador Gonzalez, who has been very inspirational in getting all of this involved. So I just wanted to speak a couple minutes on the Chamber of Commerce, because, you know, nowadays when everybody can go onto Google and look up a supplier or look up a distributor and, you know, find things very easily, and the world has gotten a lot smaller. You know, the role of the Chamber of Commerce is one where I think it's important to acknowledge, you know, that, when you're doing business globally, you need to have somebody in the middle that helps to connect the businesses together. You know, and I think from a standpoint worldwide, and in particular in Jamaica, the Chamber of Commerce, we are important in that respect, that we can help to connect businesses both together. I think that, you know, our mission is to facilitate commerce and facilitate trade. And that's something that being in Jamaica, the Chamber of Commerce has been here for over 100 years. And so our role very much is going to be able to reach out, or if I have international entities through either the embassies or the high commissions, can reach out to the Chamber of Commerce for guidance on how to connect with the different industries, whether it's going to be in fast-moving consumer goods, or whether it's going to be in electronics, or things like fridges. I see Roshan is here, so I obviously know we bring in a lot of things like that out of Mexico. But the Chamber, yes, the Chamber is a way to connect the local business community with those international commercial entities. You know, our focus is always going to be on trade and commerce. Locally, we have over 230 members. We are also a part of the private sector group, which would be the Chamber of Commerce, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, the PSOJ private sector. We all communicate constantly. So we do have a diverse group of members that we can reach out to. And so I think when companies are trying to find out whether a company is reliable or dependable, you know, the Chamber of Commerce can play a role in that and helping you out to know if somebody that you are speaking with is a reputable company in Jamaica. It's something certainly we want to make sure that when we're doing business together, that we are talking to the right persons. So reliability, knowledge, consistency, I think those are important. Pauline, I don't see any of the slides. I don't know if you put up the slides on the. So we add a couple of slides to put up.
Yeah, give me just a second.
No problem. So the other aspect that I think, and you can just go to the third slide, Paulina, if it's there, is talking about regulations. If you just move on to one more, and standards. And I think this is important when you are looking to do business with another countries. You need to understand what the regulations and the standards are, and what boards or what agencies that you need to be able to reach out to, whether or not you need a permit, whether or not you need some sort of permission, or if there's a tax or tariff. And I would say that the Chamber is someone that you can speak to find out what agencies you want to deal with. We are in regular contact with these different entities. I mean, Bureau of Standards reaches out to the Chamber when they want information as to label updates or different regulations from different countries. So Bureau of Standards, Customs, the Trade Board, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, these are persons or entities that we could certainly put you in touch with the right persons. So if you're looking to import your products into Jamaica, we would be able to advise whether or not you need a permit or what and which agency or entity that you would need to reach out to on that. And then the last part for the chamber, just so that people are aware, the Chamber of Commerce is one of the largest agents in the world. We have over 12,000 chambers worldwide, servicing approximately 42 million members, in over 100 countries. So the reach is tremendous, and both regionally as well. They have a CARICOM Chamber of Commerce, and we have an all-island Chamber of Commerce, the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce. So chambers of commerce is something that is a well-recognized, entity that if somebody wants to learn how to do business from place to place or wants to get connected globally, definitely. And I think it proved itself when the pandemic was going on, where we could reach out very quickly through the chambers of commerce as to how is it affecting businesses, especially in the Caribbean, and what actions are being taken in those businesses when people were wanting to know about lockdowns and regulations. So from a standpoint of just getting information, I think the Chamber of Commerce has a role there on that. So, of course, we leave all the business up to the two parties, but definitely in terms of connecting business partners, we are always here, and the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce would always be willing to assist in that. So we can be reached on our website, jamaicachamber.org.jm, or you can ask for the information in the conversation here. So other than that, thank you very much. And I'll leave that back to you, Paulina.
Thank you, Mr. Ramson. Now we're going to hear Mr. Rosh Ramchandani, Director of Rosh Marketing Company.
Hi, good morning, panel, and good morning, Your Excellency, Juan Gonzalez, our dear Ambassador of Mexico for Jamaica. Ms. Diane Edwards, pleasure meeting you again on this forum, and amazing presentation, Philip, very good. I must say you introduced everything, including Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce. Being a director, I have to say it. So I'm Roshan Ramchandani. I'm representing one of importation companies from Mexico over 20 years now. And I had a brief meeting one day with the ambassador, and I explained him with the changing logistics and changing world order, changing supply chains. Mexico is like the most important right now country that Jamaica should look to. Apart from United States and Canada, of course, they have been our partners, but I don't think we have really taken the role of Mexico very, very seriously yet in terms of even getting some form of free trade, not affecting any local industries, because that's the only way we can keep the prices in this inflation in control. And day in and out, I think I'm going next week. I'll be on Monday and Tuesday in San Luis Potosi for meetings. And I think I had mentioned to Ambassador, I'm supposed to go this week, but they had Easter holidays, so we had postponed it next week. So we are looking at it very deeply and very seriously. And I think personally, that Mexico has a lot to offer than we can even see. Today, I will be very clear. Samsung, LG are not produced in Korea. They are produced in Mexico. This is what we get in Jamaica, apart from the Mabe, which is probably the most home appliance that we work with. But it amazed me when I went to those factories, how big those units are. After Korea, those are the biggest plants in the world, right here next door to us. So I really think, Ambassador, that it's time you ask the Jamaican government also to see if some form of CARICOM way of doing things, if some free trade can be arranged. It will help a lot to the Jamaicans. And I'm open to any questions now if needed. So.
Mr. Roshan, we have some questions related, like what are the main challenges that you identify to commercialize with Mexican enterprises?
I think the most challenging thing right now would be that how we can connect these two countries, these two companies together. So I think a more involved probably Mexico Chamber of Commerce, or more involved Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, or something that we can do some form of trade introduction to both sides of the aisle would be the first impediment. Second impediment, I'm not going to say bureaucracy, but every country has its own rules and regulations. So we still need to be thought of what are the needed requirements in order to reach those companies or try to import those things. I've also imported a lot of food items from there, and I'm now exploring into more furniture because, as I said, the supply chain has changed, but I do not know who to go to. So I would say the first thing would be really appreciated if we can start putting those blocks together like any other country wants to start some form of trade.
Roshan,
Thank you very much.
Mark McGinnis. At COMSE, we're happy to help you out. Right now, we have an initiative in front of our Ministry of Economy, which is your Ministry of Commerce, regarding the investment protection. Before I can go and propose some type of a free trade agreement or an opening of CARICOM, I need to resolve this one issue because we take one step at a time, especially in government. Excuse me if I say that for the government people. Juan Jose, don't laugh. But we'll be happy to work on it. I'm working right now on 3 trade treaties. One of them is Mexico, Ecuador, for Ecuador to be able to get into the Pacific Alliance. And then we have 2 trade treaties left in Latin America, which are with Argentina and Brazil. And we're trying to close up our European, modernize our free trade treaty with Europe. So our Ministry of Economy, which does all this negotiation, they also have backlogs. But help us out with this investment protection agreement, which would be, if we close this, then we can go to the next step and do some type of a free trade, some type of an agreement on trade, Mexico, Jamaica. And I'm 100% with you that Mexico has become a center for manufacturing, before because of the proximity with the US. And now with the China issue, it's called nearshoring, which also Jamaica should try to take advantage of nearshoring as the direction of imports from China will tend to come more into the Americas. And that's an opportunity for Jamaica as well as it is for Mexico. I mean, we're seeing the border area filling up with US companies that are starting to expand their manufacturing into the northern corridor of Mexico. Another opportunity for Jamaica too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis. I pass the microphone to Mr. Watson.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm just asking, can you explain a little bit what the investor protection would be in a minute that you mentioned, Mr. McGinnis, investor protection?
Yeah, it's an agreement whereby there's a respect for, I mean, how it's worked out. I would say Juan Jose Gonzalez, our ambassador, can explain it to a further degree.
Well, basically, the idea is that after 7 years of very important investments in Mexico with very large groups, the need of having an instrument like the double taxation, you know, the one that we use in double taxation to facilitate trade, you know, the one for the promotional protection of investment, in Spanish we call it APRI, you know, with Jamaica. It's a very, very important. It's a very important instrument, especially for middle-sized, but very large investment companies in Mexico, around 50, 80, $100 million, you know. To have this instrument will really facilitate the question of investment. And And we are in the process of negotiating this text, no? Actually, the idea is today was going to be the first session of negotiation, but for some reasons, Jamaica sent a note saying that they had to postpone it, for some technical issue. But the idea is that this ongoing process, is important, that the private sector of the business community in Jamaica and also JAMPRO are aware of about this potentiality and these instruments, which like the trade agreements and the partial trade agreements, and they're instruments to facilitate it, But of course, I can speak later, about this, exactly the details. But the idea is basically that these agreements, Mexico has signed approximately like 48, I don't know, please correct me, APRIs, with different countries. And it's a very important tool for promotion of mutual and reciprocal investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ambassador.
I think Charlie Johnson was programmed, to speak, Paulina.
Yeah, we're going to him. We are now going to hear Mr. Charles Johnson, Executive Chairman of Jamaican Fruit and Shipping Company.
Thank you very much, everybody, for organizing this, and especially the Ambassador. I want to say I agree fully with Rush that sourcing is going to move to Mexico from the Far East, and I've seen that happening already. And in some of our businesses, we are trying to source out of Mexico. But when countries link like this, transportation is very important. It's called logistics or shipping. And I was surprised to hear Mark say that there's a problem there, because Seaboard Marine, which I'm connected with, I'm the chairman of the local company, has 2 services out of Mexico weekly to Jamaica, to Kingston. From Puerto Altamira to Kingston every Wednesday, and Veracruz to Kingston sailing every Thursday. So if there's a problem, we'd like to know, and maybe we need to put another ship on the service. But I think there's very good service from Mexico to Jamaica and from Jamaica to Mexico. And that's another thing that we should talk about, is what export opportunities exist for Jamaicans going to Mexico. And let me see another company that I'm chairman of, which is Tortuga Rum Cake Company. We are known as a rum cake company, but we're starting to make flavors for different countries that we are entering. So for Mexico, we're making a Mexican vanilla cake, and we hope to enter that into Cancun and into the Mexican tourist areas, because Tortuga is a very big rum and very big tourist product. So we are hoping to launch that in Mexico very shortly. So as far as logistics is concerned, my message is that Mexico should be a place that Jamaica should source from, and a place that Jamaica should be shipping to and exporting to. I think the time is there and ripe for everybody to do this. So Ambassador, I think your meeting is very timely, and we need to follow up on all of these things. If there's any problems that people have on the transportation side, let me know. Thank you.
Charles, Mark Mcinnes again. I think you have to promote your shipping service to a greater degree. And in Comce will be happy to help you promote it. People are not aware of it, to be honest.
Okay. Very good. That's a shame, but thanks for that. I see Philip has a question there.
Yeah, we hear you, Mr. Ransom.
Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson, good to see you. One of the questions I get from our members, a lot of our members are medium to small enterprises, is that they can't do a full container load. So is Seaboard able to help facilitate some of that if people wanted to be able to do less than container loads?
I want to say yes, because Seaboard operates LCL out of Florida into Jamaica, operates out of Jamaica back up to the United States. So I don't see why we should not be able to put that together.
Okay, yeah. Well, I will advise them that would be great news.
And I take your point, Mark. This is an example of what you're saying. Maybe they were not letting people know strongly enough about the services that exist between Jamaica and Mexico and the regularity and the transit time.
And Mr. Johnson, the Chamber of Commerce would be more than happy if you have information like that for us to pass on to our members in any
Excellent.
form of a flyer or anything. We will certainly assist in getting that information out.
And get our marketing people to come and visit you personally.
There you go. Thank you.
We hear you, Mr. Watson.
Yes, I think one of the points I could ask Charlie to speak on, you know, is the really preferential shipping rates going into Mexico. I don't have the exact number, but I would be sure it would be around maybe $2,000 for a container. And I do think when you're making less than container, if you look at even shipping it to Florida in a LCL and then reshipping to Mexico out of Florida, you'll still find it very advantageous as you seek to build the business. Because I do know that certainly in a previous life, one of the big things in markets that one can go to is when you have good shipping rates. I know a particular product going into Peru 10, 15 years ago. The freight rates were about $1,200 or $1,500 into Peru, and that facilitated, you know, the movement at an economical freight rate. So I just thought I mentioned to those online you know, what kind of freight rates it would be, because that subject is also topical with the Far East freight rates topping 20,000.
Well, certainly the freight rates are going to be less from Mexico to Jamaica and vice versa than going to the Far East. You know, that's clear. But I'm sure we'll look at every individual thing, any individual product as it comes and establish a good rate. So we're in that business.
Thank you.
So I'm here, finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. If anyone in the audience have any questions to the speakers, it's the time.
Good morning. This is Ianita. I joined a little late, but I was wondering if we had discussed any lines of credit available for trade between our two countries. Does anyone know if there are any lines of credits available?
The Mexican
for trade financing.
Okay, for trade financing, trade from Mexico abroad, there's a specific bank that you can access. And it's called Banco Mex.
Banco Mex.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Neil, and we will happy from the Secretary of Economy to put you in contact with them if you have a specific project.
Okay, thank you.
From Jamaica, I don't know who can help us with that question.
Exim Bank.
Exim Bank would be Exim Bank. I'm not sure if we have a representative on this call.
The trade financing from Mexico would be for Mexican companies exporting to Jamaica.
I see.
Okay, just to make it clear.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no any more questions, we are going to hear now Mr. Ianita, President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, for our closing remarks.
Okay. Well, I would just like to, Ambassador, are you okay with that? I saw you raise your hand.
Yes, I see somebody else, Audley Diedrich has raised his hand, you know, if there is a question, but I think one of the important things, you know, was thank you very much for all the, you know, the interventions and but I mean, there is still a lacking of knowledge, you know, about business opportunities in sector. And this is something that it is proposed to organize probably a trade mission, no? I understand, either from Jamaicans coming to Mexico, that will be very, very important in the sense you know, the potentiality, you know, we have to identify 3-4 sectors, you know, in order to do that. And I would say that COMCE was very happy, you know, and some other institutions in Mexico, you know. Of course, in Mexico, it's a federation of states like the US, you know. So, I mean, you have like San Luis Potosí, you have the potentiality of enormous, you know, manufacturing plants, you know, in the center of Mexico, in the north of Mexico, or in the agricultural sector, depending on the issue. So I think, although we may continue having a more B2B kind of experiment, you know, regarding, you know, through the chambers and through the commercial platform, you know, encounters on that. I think to organize a mission will be important, really, you know, now that we are in a post-COVID mood, you know, although of course it has not disappeared, but nevertheless, you know, I think it will be important to think about that, or the other way around, you know, but to identify, you know, a small mission about the needs of industry in Jamaica and the possibilities of investment and co-investment, you know. So, I mean, this is just an idea, but I think we have to really have let's say, it is our mission, you know, to promote thinking a more systematic, you know, to produce results oriented. Thank you.
Thank you too. So shall we hear from Mr. Otto Dietrich before we close then?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chairman Nita. I notice you're on the screen as Neil.
Yes, and that's just a slight error there. It's Nita, N-E-I-T-A.
Also wish to thank Ambassador Juan Gonzalez for rescuing me on the line because I joined the meeting late. So I'm appreciative of that. As you know, or those who doesn't know, I am Otto Dietrich, President and CEO of the Airports Authority of Jamaica. And this discussion this morning is quite stimulating, even though it has a focus or a slant on marine cargo and marine activities. But certainly from the Airports Authority and aviation standpoint, we too have a keen interest in establishing air link between Mexico and Jamaica. I do know that the tourism authorities are pursuing a current discussion for route out of the tourism belt there. But I also would want to suggest that we look at other places in Mexico that would be ideal for making this air link based on the business needs of, say, even cargo handlers. So in my recent visit to Mexico, and let me say firstly that Mexico is currently responsible for the operation of 2 of our major international airports through a company called Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacifico, GAP, which operates both the Norman Manley and the Sangster International airports. So we have very deep ties with Mexico where our aviation operations in Jamaica is concerned. So we want also to be looking at where else in Mexico can we establish airline routing that will support both passenger, including tourism, and of course, air cargo shipment. So this is a matter we are now pursuing discussions through GAP and through other associates in Mexico, whether we have the routing out of Mexico City, out of Guadalajara, or of course, Cancun was the name I couldn't recall. Cancun is the closest point, I believe, between Mexico and Jamaica, and that's where the tourism authorities are now looking. But we'll be seeking to find out by our own research, where is the ideal point in Mexico to establish this aviation link between the countries. So I'll keep this group posted on that as well. And I would welcome information or suggestion from this body or any other grouping in Jamaica. Thank you again, Ambassador.
Thank you. So I will just thank you, Audley. I will proceed now with the closing remarks on behalf of the Jamaica Chamber. We are really very pleased that Ambassador Juan Gonzalez, you have pulled this off. You have insisted that we had this forum, and your team was extremely energetic. So I'd like to thank our team as well at the Jamaica Chamber, the Secretariat that got together with your team to make this possible. The discussions this morning were very, very interesting, very fruitful, and it's the beginning of the re-establishment of our commercial relationships. Our commercial relationships really go way back. As we know, I visited your country, Pueblo, in discussions with CEMEX from in the 90s, you know, and, you know, CEMEX is a partner with us in our cement production. There have been some situations where it wasn't too pleasant in the Azteca, where, you know, we struggled to keep up with your footballers. But having said that, it has always been an interesting matchup that we've had in football as well. And you know, and even in athletics, where, you know, in the Olympics that was held there, we have had good collaboration. So it's easy for us to move forward on this one. I think that your suggestion of a trade mission, Ambassador, is something that I know Philip Ramsden and his team will be working on, and that we will make it a reality. And to just bring together all the elements of success, whether it's the logistics, the financing, the trade considerations, the marketing, that is going to be important. And I know that Diane Edwards from the JAMPRO would be keenly interested, because we are always focusing on mutually beneficial commercial transactions. Both countries must benefit from our interactions. At the Chamber, we will be working with you to make a trade mission, first of all, a reality. We will also be able to represent you with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs to talk about any trade agreements that are going to be necessary to make our trade much more viable and to protect investors. So call on us at any time, because we're willing to help you. We need to have an introduction with your chamber in Mexico and begin to work on the ground to make this a reality. So I just want to thank everyone for attending and for honoring us with your presence. And we hope to make this a significant start to a very profitable relationship, and we will certainly be in touch. So thank you all. Have a good Easter weekend, and let's keep in touch and make Jamaica and Mexico proud of what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anita. I believe Mr. Diane Edwards has something else to say.
Diana, you want to say something, Diane? You're muted, Diane.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't think it's the right thing to come in after all the thank yous that Ian said, but I just wanted to endorse very much what Ian said as president of the Jamaica Chamber, and to also pledge JAMPRO's support for organization of a trade mission, which we think is definitely the way to go. We work hand in glove with the private sector and certainly with the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, and JAMPRO is willing to lend its support to furthering any of the initiatives which will improve trade between us. We know the interest Mark Mcinnes has had in the, has mentioned in the Investment Protection Treaty, and we will certainly lend our voice to that with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I just noticed Ambassador Saunders is online, and I'm sure she also will lend her voice to it. So let me thank once again all the players for having organized this today, and just say what a pleasure it was to participate. And hopefully this is just the start of our continued and deepened relationship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, Ambassador.